Well, it's a couple of years ago now, in fact, 3 years ago, that the Public Protector made a decision to have a go at the horse racing industry. There were quite significant consequences of this. But in the past week, everything that the Public Protector had proposed has now been withdrawn. Rian du Plessis was the chief executive of Phumelela at the time of the attack from Busisiwe Mkhwebane, the Public Protector. And I recall at the time, Rian, there was a lot of media coverage of the pretty damning allegations that she made.
Yes, Alec. Her investigation resulted from a complaint lodged by a lady called Pindi Kema, who alleged that a proper public-private process was not followed when the Gauteng MEC privatized horse racing in Gauteng. And when he then transferred the Arlington racecourse to Phumelela without a public process. Now, the sad part is what's the likelihood of the Gauteng MEC or the Gauteng government owning any land in Port Elizabeth? I mean, that's how ridiculous the complaint was. And the fact that the Public Protector actually decided to take on the matter and investigate it just shows you.
It was an extraordinary thing at the time. It was, however, it had a consequence in that a big chunk of Phumelela's revenue disappeared as a result of the remedial actions that the Public Protector proposed. That's really tough if you're in business. If it's too late now or is it too late now to reverse it? But maybe take us through all of that. There's a 3% levy on horse racing bets with fixed odds, in other words, with bookmakers, which in the past used to go to Phumelela. But because of what the Public Protector said, that no longer went there. How did that all work out?
Yeah, it happened after I had left Phumelela, Alec. But yeah, she directed that the 3% that Phumelela got from the Gauteng government as a contribution towards the costs of running horse racing needed to be stopped. And that cost Phumelela the best part of about 70, 80 million rand per year. And pretty much hastened its demise.
You say demise. It's still operating today, but it did go through some very difficult times, business rescue, etc.
Well, it is in business rescue at the moment, and the business rescue practitioner is selling off assets. It will then, if there is any money left, it will be distributed to shareholders. The company will not continue.
So is there a direct link then by what the Public Protector investigated and proposed in 2019, going back to something that was, alleged to have happened all the way back in 1997? Is there any direct link between that and the travails at Phumelela?
Well, the loss of about 80 million rand a year, together with continuing to have to fund the sport of horse racing, leads to one conclusion, and that is that you won't be able to do it. So it was a three-way agreement between the racing industry or the racing clubs, the Gauteng government, and Phumelela that resulted in the creation of Phumelela in 1997. And the unilateral withdrawal of the 3% without a concomitant reduction in costs leads to only one conclusion.
So what happens now? I know you're no longer the CEO, but you would have an intimate understanding of this industry and presumably what the Public Protector was up to. Can it now be reversed? Can Phumelela get that money now?
I don't know, Alec. One would hope so. One would hope that the Gauteng government would now pay it back, but that would be a matter for Phumelela's business rescue practitioner to take up with the Gauteng government.
But it's surely, given what came out in the court, or the settlement agreement, where the public protector has now effectively said, I made a mistake, I'll pay your legal costs, all of my remedies, proposed remedies, were wrong, would suggest that the damage that was done needs to be undone.
Well, that would be the logical conclusion, Alec, but we live in illogical times. There are very few governments that have money lying around spare. So I would suspect that the Gauteng government has, over the last 3 years, spent that money. And where they would find it to be able to give it back to Phumelela is a matter for another day.
Without that 70 to 80 million rand, can Phumelela continue? I know you were, I'm not sure if you still are, a significant shareholder in the company.
Alec, no, not at the level of prize monies that the company used to pay. Something has to give, and betting on horse racing is in decline. It's less popular than other forms of gambling, and your costs of running racing are on the up. So unless something gives, it would lead to the same conclusion.
Why is it necessary to have horse racing in South Africa?
Well, I don't think it's necessary, but it's useful. From a betting point of view, it's useful to have racing every day of the year except Christmas Day, because you've got betting shops that are open every day. And although you can offer betting on international product, it's by far and away less popular than local racing, which is what punters understand better. So it is a bit of a chicken and egg situation. In the olden days, when there was no betting in betting shops and most of the betting took place on course, well, you'd only offer betting when there was racing taking place. But you've now got betting shops all over the country, both bookmaker and tote betting shops, and they pay rent 365 days a year, and you can't just have them betting open for betting on Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays.
I guess there's also quite a few people who are employed by this industry.
Yes, quite a few.
Do you have a number? Because it seems to go all over the place. There were some estimates that it was over 100,000.
Yes, Alec, but that's direct as well as indirect, and also upstream on the farms, etc., where the horses are bred and trained, etc. So, but the estimate has been up to as much as 100,000.
So, if we look at this all in perspective, here you have a government-appointed official, and we know that there's a lot of pressure to try and remove her or impeach her from that position, but able to cause such destruction in an industry. From now that you're out of it, I'm sure you can speak very independently and speak your mind on it. What do you make of all of this about doing business in South Africa, given that you have a long track record, your time at RMB, the time that you were running Comparex, you've been at the top of business in South Africa. You have a good understanding of the complexities of how this economy works. What do you make of all this?
It's bizarre. I'm beyond words, Alec. How a public protector who's supposed to concern herself only with matters that relate to government employees and state-owned enterprises can interfere with a publicly listed, quoted company and indirectly cause its demise is just bizarre. It's absolutely astounding.
You also drove Phumelela's globalization or developed the company in the international markets. What did your counterparties think of everything that was happening when this all came out?
Well, as I must again say that this directive was issued a couple of months after I left Phumelela, so I would have had indirect feedback from our international partners who were astounded as much as we were. It's just unbelievable. South African racing is well respected internationally. We produce good quality horses that have gone on to win in the UK and Dubai and Hong Kong and Singapore and all over the place. And to have this happen to a company with no provocation. And, Phumelela had a sizable black shareholding. We were officially rated just before I left as 56% black owned. And those shareholders have now all lost their money, which is astounding.
And what was behind it?
I don't know, Alec. I don't know why she would have thought that it was appropriate for her to interfere in a publicly listed company's affairs. She has a history, or the Public Protector has a history in having a go at ABSA in respect of the Reserve Bank, where the Office of the Public Protector was also disciplined and they lost the case. And here is yet another example where she just didn't understand her powers and what the limits thereof are.
I guess the one final point on this is the message that this would have sent to the foreign community in this particular area would certainly not enhance investment.
No, it would certainly not enhance investment in this country.